So, aspiring engineers will ask me in real life and in the comments, why did I fail my FE exam? What happened? And this is a question that requires a surprising amount of soul searching and introspection to discover why you were unable to pass your FE exam, whether it was your first, second, or even third attempt. Now, sometimes it comes down to bad luck. I've seen this. And other times it's a systematic bug that kept them from studying properly and passing the exam. Sure, test day nerves are real. Time constraints when working, having a family, and obligations are real, but they aren't everything. Greater systems can help us overcome these detriments and pass the FE exam. So, in this video, I want to list out some of the systematic bugs that people had in their system when it came to studying for the test and caused them to not pass. This is a common mistake I see all the time is people studying passively. They're not being intentional about the time they sit down and study and do FE problems. It's a lot of watching videos, reading resources, thinking about studying, distracted studying on their smartphone, Netflix in the background, and they're not really engaged with the material and not nearly on the level that they need to be, especially when they need to be mentally ready for test day. You can't spend your time passively studying for the test. A half hour of concentrated study effort is worth significantly more than 2 hours of distracted study time. Believe me, I know. After passing the FE and PE, I weeded out those habits very, very quickly. I'm not saying it was easy. It took me time, but it was well worth it. Next is no structured system. There's no study plan. There's no approach. It's whatever I decide to study that day is what I'm going to do. And sure, maybe some people will get away with that, but most people won't. You need a system, a structured approach week by week that tells you what I'm studying today, what I'm studying tomorrow, what I'm studying 3 weeks from now, and how that approach is going to help me be more knowledgeable when it comes test day. If you're doing random topics with no plan or sequence, or not focusing on weak study areas, it's not going to help you pass the test. It might make you feel good, but it won't be tackling the things that you need to focus on to actually overcome and pass this thing. Next is not using the FE reference handbook properly. If you weren't using the FE reference handbook while you were studying, you made a big mistake. Sorry to say. Start doing it now as you prepare again. The FE reference handbook is your lifeline, not a burden. You need to use it as a search tool, not just an equations list. It's not enough to know, yeah, that's somewhere in the reference manual. You need to actually know what terms to search for. And in some cases, where the equation you're looking for is on the page. Is it in the middle, the top, or bottom? Because let's be real, the FE reference manual is thick. It's long. It's got a lot of material in it. And actually, a lot of material that's not all that relevant to what you're doing. So know how to skim through the thing, know how to find what you're looking for, and use it every day you study for the test. Next is not enough problem volume. Now, you can go the opposite end and do too many problems and not think about how you're actually approaching them, just trying to get through them like a checklist. But I've also seen people not do enough problems, thinking 3 to 5 problems a day will be enough for a couple months to pass the test. And that's certainly not the case. What you need to do is a concentrated effort and bursts of problems. Not every day needs to be a problem marathon, and you certainly don't need to be taking practice tests every weekend. That's a bit too much, actually. What you need to do is at least 10 to 15 problems daily if you want to tackle your goals, especially when it comes to your weak areas. That means sitting down, timing them with your calculator, and doing them, concentrating on them. Not Netflix in the background, not breaks mid problem, not I'm just going to look at the solution until the final step. Actual practice. And if you get some wrong or you get more wrong than you think, that's okay. Build on that. But you need to be honest about where you are and make sure you do enough problems. The FE exam is basically a pattern recognition test. The more kinds of problems you do, the more you understand how to tackle specific solutions. That's what this test is testing. Not, do you remember something from structural engineering class 3 years ago, but can you recognize something and quickly come up with the solution and process to solve that problem? Next is practicing without time pressure. The exam is quick, and it's a lot quicker than you think when you finally enter that testing center. The clock continues to tick down as you do problem after problem. And you need to practice that way. Not all the time, but most of the time. You need to be setting a timer, 2 to 3 minutes per problem. In the beginning, it's going to be difficult to keep up with that pace. That's okay. But over time, you'll get used to it. Your brain will get used to thinking quicker. You'll get used to using the FE reference manual. It'll all start to come together. But if you never push yourself in the beginning, it'll be a big shock for you on test day. Next is an actual test taking strategy and is not having a guessing strategy on the exam. You can get an extra 5 to 10 problems correct if you have your guessing strategy in order. Never ever leave questions blank. Always take an educated guess if possible. If you've narrowed it down to 2 problems, pick the one that your gut goes with. If you have 5 to 6 problems across the entire exam that you had absolutely no clue, pick a letter and stick with the same letter for all of them. If there's 10 problems that you weren't sure between 2 solutions, but you're able to guess and it's a 50-50 shot, and then you have 6 problems you use the same letter for, and that's a total of 15 to 20 problems, you can end up getting close to half of them with just a solid guessing strategy. But with no strategy in place, or worse, leaving problems blank, it's really going to hurt your chances of passing. Next is you never simulated the exam conditions. The exam is exhausting to say the least. It is arduous. You show up usually early in the morning. Most people have a commute, and you're going to be sitting down for a long time and doing problems for a long time. You need to build up mental bandwidth to be able to do problems that, let's be real, aren't all that interesting or fun to do for 6+ hours with very, very few breaks. And the breaks you do take, they need to be quick. So build up that mental stamina. You don't need to be doing practice tests every week, but at least once every few weeks, have longer sessions, 2 to 3 hours. Get your brain used to being focused that long. In today's day and age of digital devices, social media, and electronics, having that much attention on one thing for a long time can prove to be pretty difficult. But discipline yourself. Make sure you can focus for that long. It'll come in handy. And lastly, putting too much pressure on yourself. I understand you want to pass this exam, and most people want to do it on the first try. But if you put too much pressure on yourself going in, you're going to be unable to think. You need to take the pressure off, especially the few days before the test. If you tried your best studying, feel confident in that. Go in feeling confident. It's better to go in feeling like you're going to knock this out of the park than filled with doubt and nervousness. That's how I tried to feel before my exams. So put in the work early on so you can feel good that week going up to the test. Don't try and cram it all in right before. It's not going to pay off, and it's going to really lead you down some roads that are going to require you to take the test again. So if you haven't passed the FE exam, you can absolutely do it. With the right structured approach, I know that most engineers are totally capable. So if you're looking for help, you can find my 90-day FE exam prep plan down below in the description. It's a free schedule for doing problems and giving you a structured plan to passing the test. If you need help directly, contact me at my email down below, and we'll set up a personalized plan for you to help you pass the FE. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.